Stolas is finally a real thing, Octavia obliterates Andrathus, Luna can transform, and Millie is pregnant. What a finale! I've been pretty unimpressed by the last few Helluva Boss episodes we got, but this one reminded me of why I fell in love with this show. As always, we have a dramatic story, but this time it hits you emotionally. It actually has some weight to it. Why am I saying this even though the prior episode had Stolas lose everything? Well, because Sinsmas doesn't have a moment like this.
Use your powers, do something, Stolas! Let me back in! Wow, this is a sturdy door! Ow, my supple wrist!
That's right, folks. Helluva Boss managed to make an entire episode without undercutting every single emotional scene and ruin the atmosphere. I'm impressed. That is very untypical. They even took it one step further, making the sudden, severe jumps between emotions the show loves so much add to the impact of these scenes, instead of them lessening each other. The biggest example is right after Stolas' confrontation with his daughter. He comes back home with Blitz, sits down on the couch and does nothing. He's depressed, not having the energy to change anything, so he stays the same, while the world around him changes. Everything, everyone going on while Stolas is stuck enhances his feeling of powerlessness. And this isn't the only time they do this. Think of Millie suddenly lashing out against Noxie until stopping herself mid-sentence. The reason it feels so jarring and out of the blue is because it is meant to be. The inconsistent, aggressively shifting mood is the whole point of the scene. There are still some smaller moments where they interrupt, like and subscribe, depressing moments to make the audience laugh, but they are fine. They aren't nearly as bad as they are in other episodes, so I don't really mind them. Would I say this episode's writing is better than normal? Well, maybe? I'm not quite sure yet, mainly because of how trope heavy it is, especially during the fight against Andrathus. Our cast gets saved by a Deus Ex Machina in the most Marvel movie way possible. They look like they're winning the whole time, then suddenly, we ignore that, they are doing terribly, almost getting annihilated with ease by their opponent until a character that was alluded to before but was missing from the fight comes and saves them, overpowering the enemy without breaking a sweat. It even ends with there not being consequences for the imps because admitting to lose against such lowlights would be too embarrassing. And while this scene is where the tropes are the most prevalent, they are absolutely everywhere. Think of Octavia's song being heavily connected to the one Stolas sings to her, covered up by the thinnest of veils. It's hard to argue that they aren't using these tropes very effectively though. After all, Octavia's song is one of the best moments of the episode, so let's just say while the writing isn't very innovative, it is very well utilized. Speaking of Octavia, am I the only one who was a little confused by her? She was clearly happy when her dad called, and she kept doing it the whole month. She finds that out by overhearing Stella talking about it, but she gets like 2 frames of being shocked that, not gonna lie, I didn't even notice the first 2 times watching, so she wants Stolas to call her, knows that he can't, overhears her mother bragging about making it impossible for him to do so, which is kinda weird, like, what is she going to do if Octavia's just in another room and Stolas calls? And then, after going through her memories of him, Octavia thinks about loving but not forgiving her father. Then she shows up at the IMP office to talk to her dad. Okay, I admit I could be having an autism moment right now, trying to logic my way through someone's irrational emotions, but wouldn't she just like call him at some point? Yes, she doesn't seem to be certain on how to feel about Stolas, but when she goes to IMP, she doesn't give Blitz the pills and leaves before her dad shows up. She doesn't just put them on the desk or leave them in the mailbox or something. She specifically asks where her dad is. To me, this all seemed like the show wants its cake and eats it too. It needs Octavia to love her dad, it wants her showing up looking for him, but also does not want her to talk to him. We could have either gone the she's confused and uncertain, not knowing what she wants route, or the she's too hurt and immediately turns him down one, but instead we get a bit of both, and I just don't think that works very well together. What's working surprisingly well though is the reason why Octavia is so depressed. Stolas. Blitz and Stolas have a great dynamic, and that's because the series embraces how little the two really know each other, as well as how little Stolas really knows about the real world. This allows Blitz to slip into this loving caretaker type role, which is not only very sweet, but it even gives us the chance to see them in the same light as two characters who just met for the first time, so we can ignore all of the backstory they have. Blitz even gets around his insecurities because of it. If he feels needed, he doesn't have a chance to second guess why Stolas is here with him. It would have been easy for the episode to gloss over all of these things without acknowledging or even thinking about it. The series is very fond of ignoring all of Stolas' mistakes, so we could just keep doing that. And while the episode does not dive into their backstory, what we get feels natural. Everything has a real reason. They even hold off on a lot of the romantic moments, where that Stolas is not in the right state of mind. While we of course get many moments of him together with Blitz, their scenes either aren't focused on the romance, or if they are taking it slow. With the exception of one adrenaline-filled kiss. The last scene of them dancing together ends with Blitz happily laying his arms around Stolas, who just looks up at the sky. Amazing episode for couple dynamics. The M&Ms absolutely included. We got some of my favorite scenes of them so far. They are unapologetically themselves and are happy to be silly and playful with each other, but whenever someone needs a break, they immediately take a step back. Or to put it plainly, they are fucking adorable. Love them. And while they deeply love each other, they, or rather Millie, acts weirdly, including towards Moxie. And since the episode can't go a second without tropes, our first sign of why this is her suddenly throwing up, at which point I thought, is there gonna be a storyline about her being sick, or is she pregnant? Then she lashed out against Moxie for no apparent reason, and yeah, maybe just me having watched How I Met Your Mother more than a dozen times, but I was 100% sure that she's pregnant. And while this once again isn't an innovative way to foreshadow her pregnancy, it is a perfectly decent one. I'm sure most people had no clue that's what they were hinting towards. It works in this episode as a vacuum. In the context of the series, however, it seems like one of our protagonists being pregnant was a complete afterthought. They must have decided on it while they could still include things in prior episodes. Why do we get both the first hint as well as the reveal for something this substantial in the same episode? We could have been emotionally invested in what's going on with Millie. Is she sick? Why does she suddenly turn this emotional at random times? Instead, it just kinda happens. I wouldn't say the way they work up to it and reveal everything is bad. It's still good, but it definitely feels like a missed opportunity not to use something this significant in any sort of major way. But hey, that could be the title for a video essay on Millie, so at least it fits her character. I know I sound very negative right now, despite me being such a cheerful fucking person normally, but I want to end this review on a positive note because this episode really deserves it. While there are still things to improve upon, it's already an enormous step forward from Mastermind and Ghost Finders, an episode I disliked so much that I didn't even make a video on it. It seems like almost every aspect of the show improved. Even the things I've been complaining about are less of an issue this time. We are definitely ending the season on a high note. If you want to help me and my year on one as well, please like and subscribe. More videos on the Helluva Boss are coming soon.